Hello viewers, in my last lecture I had introduced to disaccharides, and as you know, disaccharides are composed of two molecules of simple sugars which are monosaccharides linked to each other by glycosidic linkages. Before we proceed further, first let us recapitulate the important features of disaccharides before discussing each of them, such as maltose, cellobiose, lactose and sucrose in detail. As you know, disaccharides yield two monosaccharides on hydrolysis. That is, when we bring about acidic or enzymatic hydrolysis of disaccharides, we get two simple monosaccharides, that is, two simple sugars. Disaccharides are sugars which have molecular formula C12H22O11, and they are composed of two units of monosaccharides joined by a carbon-oxygen carbon linkage, that is glycosidic linkage. This linkage is formed from the reaction of the anomeric carbon on one cyclic monosaccharide with the OH group of the second one. So now let us look as to how the glycosidic bond is formed between two monosaccharide units, giving rise to a disaccharide. This is a condensation reaction, and you know, in a condensation reaction, two molecules join with an elimination of a simple molecule which may be a water molecule, as in case of a glycosidic bond formation, or it may be an ammonia molecule if we are talking of condensation reactions of amino acids resulting in formation of an amide bond. So what happens during glycosidic formation? The OH group that is most reactive in a monosaccharide is the one which is on the anomeric carbon, and you know, this OH group which is on the anomeric carbon is there because of the intramolecular reaction between the carbonyl group and the OH group on the fifth carbon, resulting in the formation of hemiacetal. So this OH group which is attached to the anomeric carbon is the most reactive OH group. And when this hydroxyl group reacts with another hydroxyl group on another molecule of monosaccharide, a glycosidic bond is formed. So here you can see on your screens now, in this case what we've done is we've taken a molecule of monosaccharide here, that is in the cyclic form, hemiacetal form, and this is the anomeric carbon. So what I've tried to show you here is a simple reaction between a hemiacetal and an alcohol group. So when a reaction takes place between the hemiacetal carbon or the anomeric carbon and the alcohol, we get a acetal linkage by reaction between the OH group here and the OH group here. So in this case we get a glycoside, and in this glycoside what we find that this molecule which is coming from the sugar is known as the glycon, and the molecule or which is not, we get a glycosidic bond here, and the bond which is coming from the other molecule, this one, this is the, if we carry out the hydrolysis of this molecule, this will give us a glycon which is coming from the sugar molecule, and a aglycon which will be not from the sugar molecule, which will be from this alcohol. So if I carry out the hydrolysis of this molecule from here, then what we'll find is that we'll get OH here and we'll get a ROH here. So this ROH will be the aglycon part, and we've got the monosaccharide back from which we had made this acetal linkage. So now instead of taking this simple alcohol, what we do, we take another molecule of a monosaccharide, and now this first sugar molecule is acting like a sugar residue, or it is acting like a hemiacetal. In this, the OH group at the anomeric carbon will react with any of the OH groups from the second sugar molecule, from the second monosaccharide. It may be one of these hydroxyl groups, which is second, third, fourth, or the sixth one, or it may even be, the reaction may even be between the two anomeric OH groups, that is, which are attached to two anomeric carbons. But what we find, that the reaction which is being shown, which you can see on your screens, is that the OH group of this anomeric carbon, which is at the first carbon, reacts with the OH group which is on the fourth carbon of the second monosaccharide molecule, resulting in a glycosidic linkage. And what we get here is, we get a C-O-C bond, and this is the glycosidic bond which is being formed here. Now we go on to the next thing. So now when we talk of these two monosaccharides, these two molecules of simple sugars may be same or they may be different. And the anomeric carbon, as I've already illustrated, may react with any of the hydroxyl groups of the second monosaccharide unit, resulting in three types of glycosidic linkages. The three types of glycosidic linkages which occur in disaccharides are 1,4, 1,6 or 1,2 linkage. So let us discuss these linkages in detail. So we can have a 1,4 linkage. So what we mean by saying that we have a 1,4 linkage, that is that the anomeric carbon of the first monosaccharide unit is bonded to the oxygen of the C4 of the second monosaccharide. So what you can see here is that this is the anomeric carbon, and this carbon is bonded to the alkoxy group, or to the oxygen which is attached to the fourth carbon of the second monosaccharide. And what we get here is, we get a maltose. The disaccharide formed here is maltose. And in maltose, what you now have to remember, that the two glucose units are joined by a alpha glycosidic linkage, and the linkage is between the C1 carbon of the first monosaccharide, which is acting as a sugar, that is the anomeric carbon, and the C4 carbon of the second monosaccharide through oxygen. Similarly, when we talk of a 1,6 linkage, so what you have in 1,6 linkage, here the example of a 1,6 linkage is gentobiose. And what we find in this case, the anomeric carbon bonded to an oxygen on the sixth carbon, that is this carbon, which is the anomeric carbon of the glucose unit, that is the first carbon. And now this is linked to the oxygen of the sixth carbon. See how the sixth carbon, this is your first carbon, this is second carbon, this is third carbon, this is fourth carbon, this is the fifth carbon, and this is the sixth carbon. So where is the bond formation taking place? The glycosidic bond is being formed between the C1 of the first glucose unit and the C6 of the second glucose unit, and therefore we say this is a 1,6 linkage, and this is a beta bond, beta glycosidic linkage. As to why do we call bond alpha glycosidic bond or a beta glycosidic bond, I shall be discussing this very shortly. Now the third case that we have is the 1,2 linkage. In 1,2 linkage, the anomeric carbon of the first moly residue is bonded to the oxygen on the C2 of the second monosaccharide. And the example of this case is that of sucrose. So what we find here in this case, in sucrose molecule, that is anomeric carbon, that is the first one of the glucose, is bonded to the second carbon of fructose. fructose through the oxide bond, that is through ether linkage. So what you have to remember is that is when we are talking of aldoses, then in the cyclic structure, that is the hemiacetal structure, it is the C1 which is the anomeric carbon. And when we talk of ketohexoses, the example that I have taken here is that of fructose, then in that case it is the C2 which is the anomeric carbon. So in this case, in case of sucrose, what we find that the linkage here is between the C1, that is the anomeric carbon of the glucose, and C2, that is the anomeric carbon of the fructose, resulting in formation of 1,2 linkage. So, and this linkage then results in the formation of a acetal bond here, which is also known as a glycosidic bond. So, the three important disaccharides that we will be discussing in great details and on which questions are asked in entrance exams as well as in your college exams, that is the semester exams, are that is what is maltose, what is lactose, and what is sucrose, and which among them are the reducing sugars, which is a non-reducing sugar. Then the emphasis is paid on the linkage. That is why I have discussed the linkages in detail. That is 1, 2, 1, 4, 1, 6 linkage. That is, they would ask you that in maltose, what kind of linkage do you have? Or in an entrance exam, they can give you a particular disaccharide without naming it. They just give you the structure and then they ask you what kind of linkage is there in the molecule. So what you have to remember is that when we talk of maltose, maltose is a disaccharide which is made up of alpha D glucose and D glucose. That is, both the molecules here are that of alpha D glucose, and the linkage is between the first carbon of the glycon unit and the fourth carbon of the aglycon unit. When we talk of lactose, lactose is made up of D-galactose, beta-D-galactose and D-glucose, and the linkage here is beta form. The bond is beta-glycosidic, beta-1,4 glycosidic bond. And when we talk of sucrose, sucrose is made up of alpha D-glucose and beta D-glucose residues, and therefore this glycosidic linkage is known as alpha 1 beta 2 glycosidic linkage. All these linkages I shall be explaining in great details as to what do we mean by this and how would you recognize a molecule. Just by looking at the molecule, that you will be able to tell whether the linkage is alpha or the linkage is beta. So now we know that when we talk of a condensation reaction, that is when we talk of glycosidic bond formation between two monosaccharides to give us a disaccharide, there a condensation reaction is involved. Why is a condensation reaction involved? Because in this case, two molecules of monosaccharides react with the elimination of a water molecule and we get a bigger unit which is disaccharide, which is composed of two simple monosaccharides, and these monosaccharides may be same as in case of maltose, that is, maltose is made up of 2 units of glucose, or they may be different as in case of fructose, and we've seen that fructose is case of sucrose, as we've seen that sucrose is made up of glucose and fructose. So let us first discuss how is the glycosidic bond formation taking place, and this I shall be illustrating by taking the example of maltose, and you already know that maltose is composed of 2 alpha D glucose units. And now, as you can see on your screens, we are carrying out the reaction between the 2 molecules of alpha D glucose. I shall not be going into the details of the mechanism. That is, we have already discussed this in one of my previous lectures, where we had discussed the formation of acetals by reaction between a glucose molecule and a methanol molecule in acidic medium. So you can refer to that. But here I would be emphasizing as to which OH and which H will be eliminated as water molecule. So when we talk, the reaction is between two molecules of alpha D glucose. Now why are we saying it is alpha molecule? What does D indicate here and what does small plus or small d indicate here? This concept must be very clear to you. That is, capital D refers to the orientation of OH on the highest numbered asymmetric carbon. Alpha refers to orientation of OH on the anomeric carbon, that is C1 carbon in case of glucose. In this case, this OH is pointing downwards in the Parenos ring, or we can say that this CH2OH and OH are on the opposite side of the ring. And the second point, third, this plus indicates that this molecule is dextrorotatory. That is, it will rotate the path of plane polarized light in right hand direction. So now let us come back to how does the glycosidic bond formation take place. So what happens in this case? The OH group from this carbon, which is the anomeric carbon, reacts with the OH group on the fourth carbon of the second glucose residue. So in this case, this small glucose residue will be the glycon part of the disaccharide, and this glucose residue will be the alcohol part, that is, it will be the aglycon part when we carry out the hydrolysis of maltose. So what is happening here, that in acidic medium, OH on the first carbon, that is the anomeric carbon of the sugar residue, and the OH on the fourth carbon of the alcohol of the aglycon residue, the second glucose residue, which is acting here as an aglycon. Please remember, this is the hemiacetal group. So here again a reaction will take place. OH will be eliminated from here and H will be eliminated from the fourth carbon, resulting in the formation of a glycosidic linkage. And we get, why are we calling this as alpha maltose? We are calling this residue, this molecule, as alpha maltose because here the OH at the hemiacetal group is on the lower side of the plane of the ring, or we can say that CH2OH and OH are on the opposite side. So now let us see how is this glycosidic linkage being formed. The hydroxyl group is removed from the anomeric carbon. Please remember, hydroxyl group will be removed from the anomeric carbon of the left residue, and a hydrogen is removed from any carbon on the right residue. And this OH and H are removed as water molecules. So what you have to remember is that this is shown in red. This OH is being removed from this unit of alpha D glucose, and hydrogen is removed from here. This could be alpha or this could be beta, but here I've taken beta D glucose. So this is removed off as water molecule here. But we know maltose is made up of 2 units of alpha D glucose. So now here, but I've shown the reaction between alpha D glucose and beta D glucose. So what is beta D glucose? Where the CH2OH and OH are on the same side. So this is acting as a hemiacetal group, that is OH is being removed from the anomeric carbon and H is being removed from the aglycon unit, which is acting as an alcohol, and a bond is being formed between this carbon, that is the C1 carbon, and the C4 carbon. So a new bond is formed between alkoxy oxygen from the right residue to the anomeric carbon in the left residue. So what you have to remember is that this alkoxy oxygen or the ether bond that we are saying here is from the oxygen which is on the fourth carbon of the second residue. And what we find here is that we've got a acetal linkage here. So what is an acetal linkage? And this is a hemiacetal linkage. So let us quickly look as to what is a hemiacetal linkage. That is, how will you differentiate between an acetal and an hemiacetal linkage in a molecule? A acetal linkage is the one in which the anomeric carbon is attached to two ether groups. That is, we can consider this is O and the rest of this is R. So it is attached to a OR group, and again it is attached to a second OR group here. Whereas in hemiacetal linkage, hemiacetal group, what we have that the anomeric carbon is attached to one ether linkage, one is the OH group, third is the H, and then fourth is the rest of the R group. So this is how you are going to differentiate between a acetal bond and a hemiacetal bond. Quickly, acetal bond is attached to two ether groups, whereas an hemiacetal bond group carbon means that it is the carbon there, anomeric carbon there, is attached to one alcoholic group and one ether group. So now what we find that when we carry out this reaction between two molecules of alpha D glucose, a glycosidic bond has been formed, and the glycosidic bond, as you've already seen, has been formed because of the reaction between the alpha D glucose unit of one molecule and the OH of the second on the fourth carbon on the second unit. So this has been indicated here that the bond is between the first carbon of the first unit and the fourth carbon of the second unit. The second thing, the most important thing that is to be noticed here is that the direction of the new bond is in the same direction as was the bond to the OH that was removed. That is, if we go back one slide, what we find that in this case the OH in glucose was pointing downwards. So similarly, when we found that a glycosidic bond has been formed, here also the orientation of this bond is such that it is facing downward. So what you have to remember is that whenever you are making a glycosidic bond and you have to indicate the position or the orientation of the CO bond here, you have to remember it will be in the same direction as was the bond which we had removed from the anomeric carbon. So here the direction is the same, and we've got alpha D glycosidic linkage. Now what I'm trying to stress here is that the covalent bonding pattern linking the anomeric carbon of one residue to the oxygen, then to the other carbon, to the carbon in the other sugar residue, is referred to as a glycosidic bond. So what you can see on your screens now is the structure of maltose, and in maltose what you've seen is that has been indicated by a yellow line. That is, this is a bond that is COC. That is, bond is between the C1 of the first carbon and the C4 of the second monosaccharide residue, and the bond, this bond COC bond is known as the glycosidic bond. So now these glycosidic bonds can be designated as alpha or beta, and this I shall be discussing in my next lecture as to what are the alpha or what are the beta glycosidic bonds and what do we mean by that. And now I would like to tell you that the references, that books that I had consulted for preparing this lecture were from, we had taken up a book from Wade, then I had referred to a book by Carey Francis, Claydon, Solomons, and these concepts are very clearly given in these books, and for your reference you can also go back to these books as well as to my previous lectures also to make your concepts clear. Thank you.